As part of the Road to Champ Week presented by Wendy's. And the kennel is already rocking tonight here in Spokane, just a couple days away from one of the biggest West Coast Conference games in recent history. First things first, number 12 Zags have to take care of San Diego here at home. Gonzaga is still one game behind St. Mary's in those conference standings with 2 games to play. It's been a tough year for the Toreros, 4-10 in Steve Lavin's first year as the head coach at USD. Dave Fleming, Dan Dickow, great to have you with us. Well, they were talking about it in studio. Took me 5 seconds to reference it here tonight. Everybody's looking forward to Saturday. How do the Zags avoid looking ahead and making this maybe a little more difficult of a game?
Well, Saturday is going to be a very exciting time in Spokane if they take care of business tonight against a really upstart San Diego team because of the way they play. They want to play fast under Steve Lavin, but you have to get through tonight before you can get to the excitement of a league title on the line and game day on Saturday. Yeah,
game day is going to be here. We'll talk plenty about that. Plus, you got the streak on the line. Gonzaga has at least shared, often won outright, 10 consecutive West Coast Conference regular season titles. And right now, they are a game behind St. Mary's in the standings. So in essence, they're going to have to beat the Gales on Saturday to tie and gain a share of the West Coast Conference. And as Dan just said, that's assuming they take care of business here tonight. Now the Toreros knocked it all the way back toward the baseline. Kept it inbounds. Not a graceful way for the game to start, but we're underway.
Interesting start. You said assuming a Gonzaga win. A 75-game home winning streak here at McCarthy Athletic Center was snapped by LMU a few weeks back.
Little runner for Wayne McKinney, and that's the first bucket of the ball game.
You will see a lot of dribble handoffs, pick and rolls from USD, as well as picking up three-quarter court pressure. Try to get Gonzaga to take shots like that one from Drew Timme, a little out of character early in the game.
He was wide open, took the 3, missed the 3. He's only made 2 threes all season. So you see the starting lineup for the Toreros. They've been mixing and matching. It's been a lot of different lineups for Steve Lavin over these last many weeks. And a turnover for the Zags.
Well, they've had injury problems.
Marcellus Earlington hits his first shot of the game.
You're going to hear that name a lot tonight. 6 straight games earlier this year, 20-plus points, including back-to-back 30-point efforts. He is a 3-level scorer. He can get to the rim, mid-range pull-up, as you saw there, as well as knock it down from down in the arc.
We got Devin Dalkey getting the start. Maybe that's a little bit of a surprise. Timme makes his first move up and under and had it knocked away by Earlington, and then the Toreros saved it in bounds.
A terrific job from Earlington of staying down. Drew Timme puts people in foul pressure situations because he gets them off their feet with head fakes and great footwork.
Sloppy pass. Hickman went for the steal, didn't get it. Shot clock now at 13. So the Toreros, they've got the first 4 points of the game. Now Anton Watson, a long way from the basket, commits a foul. So for Mark Few, look, it's only a minute and a half, but I guarantee you Mark was thinking about what we talked about, making sure his team did not look ahead. A little bit of a slow start. Earlington drives to the basket and scores again.
He's got those big, strong shoulders. He can get an angle on you. It's almost impossible to get back in front.
Well, the first 6 points of the game for USD. Earlington's had a really good year. He missed the last game for the Toreros, but he's had a week to recover. Timme, there's the first 2 for the Zags.
That's a difficult ask of anybody, let alone Jamerson, the sophomore from Los Angeles, who has a bright future in San Diego, but the footwork of Timme just creates so many problems.
Yeah, walk-on who's really surprised. He's played a lot better than expected, but you're right, tough ask. Nick Lynch coming off his best game of his career, had it stolen away by Julian Strother. 2-on-2, Strother's going to go all the way, got fouled and hit the floor hard. They're going to call the foul before the shot, though. There's Steve Lavin, first-year head coach, 3rd time he's been a head coach. All those years at UCLA, had his stint at St. John's. He's been a colleague of ours on the television side in between. And I think he's very happy to be back on the sidelines. Nolan Hickman hits the 3.
sophomore from Seattle, one of the best in the conference in assist-to-turnover ratio. Does a nice job of not forcing things, looking for his own, but he can knock down the three when left open.
Zags a little full court pressure. Three-point shooting against San Diego has been a massive story all year. We'll talk a lot about that. Should be a night where Gonzaga has a chance to knock down some shots from outside. You see those numbers there. 352nd in Division I. Guess how many teams there are? 352. They're last in defending the three. Now a foul against Lynch and the Toreros.
It's one of those things where, you know, San Diego's searching for an identity in year one under Steve Lavin. Do they want to be a team that picks up full court? Do they want to be a man team? Do they want to be a zone team? They haven't necessarily settled on one strategy yet. That will come in the future under Steve Lavin, but you're right. Other teams have had their eyes open wide at the three-point line this year.
They're giving up, I mean, again, it's worth repeating, 41% for the year from outside against San Diego. Bolton tries the three. That one was way off the mark. Bolton's had a strange habit of starting slow. He has had a lot of great finishes, including the last game for the Zags down at Pepperdine.
Yeah, 9 points in the final stretch to solidify the win. But he's one of those guys that, as a secondary ball handler, I don't think gets enough credit for how he's a calming influence on this team.
Shot from Dalkey, no good. Here comes Anton Watson. The big men for the Zags, they can lead the way on the fast break. They left Watson basically unguarded. He missed the shot. Townsend, who could be a big scorer, in off the bench.
You see how San Diego wants to get the ball up the floor as quickly as they can, get into pick and roll situations, get the ball moved side to side. They feel if they get Gonzaga guarding multiple actions, there's a chance they can break down and get an easy bucket.
Man, that's a tough shot. Good defense, Watson. Earlington missed it. Watson in transition. He got fouled by Stephen Jamerson. So that'll be our first break here from Spokane. 15-12 still to go first half. Toreros with the early 1-point lead.
Bravo!
For buying a treadmill?
You use the Quicksilver card from Capital One. It's simple, with no annual fee and unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. That makes you the hero of every purchase.
Yeah.
And heroes don't take the stairs.
Is this a parachute?
What's in your wallet?
A ballet studio, an architecture firm, and homemade barbecue sauce. They're called small businesses, but to the people who build them, there's nothing small about them. That's why at T-Mobile for Business, you'll save more than $1,000 versus Verizon. And with Price Lock Guarantee, we'll never raise your rate plan, so you can keep your focus on toe turns and making sure the sauce is extra spicy. At T-Mobile, there are no small businesses.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Wendy's 2 for $6. The best deal in fast food. And the students are already talking about Saturday, but as always, here in big numbers in front of another sellout crowd here at the Kennel. Gonzaga trying to extend that incredible record against this West Coast Conference. You mentioned the one, though. BYU and St. Mary's, not like they've dominated the Zags, anything but at least they've had some success. The rest of the conference since February of 2014, we're talking 9 years. Gonzaga 126-1.
That statistic is incredible. You know, just the dominance in understanding and knowing that you're going to get every team's best shot, and to be able to come out on top 126 of 127 times is amazing. That one loss, you got to give LMU a ton of credit. They really junked the game up defensively. They took Gonzaga out of a lot of the actions that they have success in, and then Cam Shelton was able to expose Gonzaga defensively down the stretch in pick and roll situations. Ultimately, he made a game winner in the final minute.
That month of February 2014, Julian Strother's been on a real hot stretch, misses the three. That month of February 14, the last time the Toreros beat Gonzaga, Jawara went all the way, couldn't hit the layup, so here comes Gonzaga. And Greg off the bench. So as Hunter Salas will take the handoff from Timmy and picked up his dribble. Hickman, open three, in and out. Timmy, offensive rebound with the foul.
I mean, you see the footwork, and it's talked about all the time, but the balance there to catch on the offensive glass and then quickly put it back up. The presence of mind, knowing that the foul was called. Just get that ball up on the backboard. See if it can drop and get yourself a chance at a three-point play.
That's a good point, because almost always it is about the footwork of Timmy. At 34 on Saturday against Pepperdine, 15 of 20 from the field. His free throw shooting also, this is a really good sign for Gonzaga, has ticked up in a major way. Last 5 games, he's been shooting 72% from the line.
Yeah, that is an important stat if he can keep trending in that direction, because in March, in close games, you want your best players on the floor that can make free throws. You would put Coach Few in a situation where you might have to consider taking him out at times if he's not able to knock it down from the line.
Bad pass, Timmy with the steal. Salas steps in, got knocked to the floor, so he'll go to the free throw line. Well, the Toreros got off to the quick start. Since then, on the offensive end, they've just gone silent. And Steve Lavin, a tough task no matter what. This San Diego program last few years really has struggled, but a couple of his most talented players, Eric Williams has been banged up. He's not playing tonight. The Oregon transfer, Jaden Dallaire, who was having a good year. The Stanford transfer, he's out for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I talked to Coach Lavin today, and he said he's never seen anything like it in all of his years, either as a coach or a broadcaster, a team that's been beset by injuries the way they have this year. I mean, you take Williams out, he's a terrific all-around scorer, rebounder, provides some defensive toughness, and then Dallaire, he's just a versatile kind of do-it-all wing. Timmy,
Instead of catching, tried to volleyball it in, and that didn't work that time. Now on this end to travel, Deuce Turner. That's a San Diego turnover.
Well, Deuce Turner has one thing on his mind, and that is score. At the junior college level a season ago, he really was able to put the ball in the basket from multiple levels. One game, 50 points, 13 made threes, so he has a green light. He's earning it here at the Division I level with San Diego.
Malachi Smith in for the first time, and he found the pocket in that San Diego defense.
So you're going to beat a zone that's that spread out, get to the middle of the floor, and you must always catch, turn, and face.
Now a whistle and a foul against the Zags. They called Malachi Smith away from the ball for the personal. Well, less than 2 minutes in, San Diego had scored its 6 points, so it's been a while.
The 68-point first half outburst against LMU gets a lot of the attention, but defensively, I thought they were really good in that game, understanding personnel and schemes.
McKinney was swarmed. That pass tipped out of bounds. Yeah, I think Gonzaga has shown some signs as the season's gone on of being a much improved defensive team. They don't have, some of the best Gonzaga teams last year included. Great shot blocker inside. Now a lean in and a shot clock violation before Townsend got it off. That's another San Diego turnover.
Terrific recognition from Salas that with 3 on the shot clock, Townsend was going to have to go quick. Didn't give an angle to allow that to happen. But, to stay on your point, Dave, they don't have the rim protection that they had with a Brandon Clark or a Chet Holmgren. But I think they have a a chance to be a better defensive team than a lot of people are giving themselves credit for. They've had really good games. Yes, they've had some struggles on that end of the floor at times, but they're coming around.
That was a good defensive play by Ben Gregg. Help defense, swatted away the shot from Earlington. Now Gregg running the floor, committed an offensive foul. He knocked McKinney to the ground.
That's a tough one, Ben Gregg, to get a call, especially when you need to take your time with the little on you. Ben Gregg, great recognition, understanding. You got to go help your guy on the interior, Malachi Smith. He gets the ball himself with a mismatch. Any smaller guard, you're looking to get the contact and then take a flop.
Now Strother almost stole it away. And San Diego's offense now, and that's a 10-second violation. The Toreros are just being smothered.
Gonzaga's will on occasion go to this three-quarter court pressure. They do it with either Strother or Watson at the top with length, athleticism, timing. It's really created some issues for San Diego.
Well, Coach Lavin not afraid to use his bench. San Diego players are in and out of this game in the first 7 minutes. Trying to find a combination that can work here. Smith, again, that same spot, didn't shoot it this time. Salas will take the three. No. Timmy, offensive rebound. Putback is good.
Active on the offensive glass. He was searching for a foul there, too. He's so good at creating contact. Defender got his hands out of the way just in time.
Nice pass. Earlington gets it back from Lynch, and finally a bucket for USD.
That's what you want to do when you break pressure. Attack. Good job from Earlington.
Timmy tried to pass it to Salas. That went right through Hunter Salas's hands. But then Earlington grabbed the ball and stepped out of bounds. So a little frustrating there for San Diego. Still, though, hanging in the game early. It's 12-8. Zags with the first half lead.
You spent your life carefully building a legacy. We'll be just as careful helping you pass it on.
T-Mobile has the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus for free and price lock guarantee. Do you?
Well, yes.
Switch to T-Mobile and get a free Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus with no trade-in required.
College game day, we get to be back amongst the people. How great is this? College game day live from Gonzaga, a special 2-hour edition, Saturday, 10 Eastern on ESPN.
And the crew has not been on this campus. They've had Gonzaga on game day in recent years, but they haven't been here to the Kennel in a very long time. If it wasn't 5 degrees outside today, there would have been an even bigger crowd as the bus pulled up. The Zags and the Gales on Saturday, final regular season game this year in the WCC. Gonzaga has won 15 of the last 19, but we watched it on February 4th. St. Mary's in overtime beat Gonzaga 78-70. They have the 1-game lead. They have a chance to win the conference outright if they can come to Spokane and win here in a couple days.
Gonzaga controlled much of that game, but they weren't able to close it out. It was the Aiden Mahaney show down the stretch in Moraga, the freshman point guard. You know, Gonzaga avenged their loss to LMU. I'm sure in the back of their mind they're prepared and ready to avenge the loss to St. Mary's. That should be a heck of a game, unbelievable atmosphere.
If there's a stronger word than avenged, that's what they did down in Marina Del Rey. They vanquished LMU a week ago. Timmy makes his quick move, a little too strong. 68 in the first half.
It was 5-4 about 2 minutes into the game. Next time you look up, it's 32-10. Unbelievable scoring outburst in that first half.
Think about all the great Zags teams under Mark Few. You were a part of some of them, and that was the most points and a half under Mark Few, 68.
27 made field goals in that half. I mean, there are teams that don't get 27 made field goals in a game.
Strother passed up the three. A little runner. He's really good at those kind of shots.
Yeah, he has really improved in that aspect of his game. He's such a testament to the player development at Gonzaga. Is following a very similar career trajectory as Corey Kispert.
Wow, what hustle by Strother. Hit the floor going after the loose ball. Couldn't quite steal it away. Great effort, though. Then the students threw the ball back on the court and almost took Julian Strother out. Don't do that.
They were ready to go early tonight.
Hey, figure for the upperclassmen, the seniors in the crowd.
Yeah.
This is their last weekend of home games for every one of these students. This is such a big part of their experience here. Another late shot clock situation. Arlington missed it. It's out of bounds, though, and San Diego will keep the ball.
You know, the other thing is they didn't get the full 4-year experience like most because of COVID. There was a year where fans and students were not allowed in the building. You know, so with them here and with game day finishing out on Saturday with WCC play, and then they actually have a non-conference for senior night against Chicago State. It's a unique ending of the year.
Now an offensive foul. Illegal screen against Lynch.
Lynch motioning to Jawara. You gotta wait, you gotta slow down, you gotta let me get set on my screen. If there's one thing that bigs can't stand is when the guards go too soon and it becomes an offensive moving foul on a screen from the big.
I think you're right. I think that's exactly what happened there. Halfway through the first half, it's been lower scoring than we might have expected.
Torrero's back in that zone. Gonzaga trying to find the middle.
Long distance three for Julian Strother. Now a pass that just floated up there for way too long. Bolton tips it to Strother.
The activity that Strother's put on at this top of the zone press has been impressive tonight. He's got his hands on a number of balls.
There goes Townsend. That's a tough shot. It went down. It's like Julian Strother tonight. He's Anton Watson. That kind of activity. Smith came up short on the three. Out of bounds off of Gonzaga.
Just mentioned the activity at the top of the zone. Strother chasing one end to the other, putting ball pressure on them. Bolton comes up with the deflection. Right place, right time for Strother. He's been on a scoring tear. Last 3 games, 26, 28, and 28. But even before that, a career high 40 with 8 made threes against Portland.
Remember, it was 6-0 San Diego. It's 19-4 since then. Gonzaga from the free throw line, no good. That was a pretty good look for Jawara. Here comes Hickman. Hickman down the lane. They'll call a foul against USD trying to play defense.
Good job pushing the ball up the floor from Hickman, but what gets lost from most fans is Drew Timme created that opportunity because he had a hard rim run. Defense has to get back, be concerned about him. Hickman can then change directions of the attack on the floor and keep the pressure up on the defense.
Gonzaga in the bonus here for the next 9 minutes. Hickman made the first, earned the second. Very important player, Nolan Hickman, for this team. And in a lot of ways, unfairly, Dan, you're part of the point guard tradition here. You're a great player for the Zags, and you and about 15 others in the Mark Few era have been All-American level lead guards. And the standard is so high. Nolan Hickman, trying to grow into that job, has taken some heat around here. In transition, San Diego found a look for Jamerson around the rim.
Great pass from McKinney, and you're right.
Watson, what a pass from Bolton. They left Townsend open. He missed the three. Well, nobody stopped the ball, so Bolton just took the three. Timme tipped, no good. Got his own miss and gets hammered. Drew Timme's playing hard, isn't he?
He has been active on that offensive glass. 3 offensive rebounds now. He gets himself another trip to the free throw line where, as mentioned, he's been much improved over the last 5-6 games.
I think it's so important for the Zags. We can get back to the point guard point with Nolan Hickman at some other time, but Timmy's free throw shooting, there have been times, close games late, where he has to come out of the game. I mean, you don't want that. He's your best player.
Well, he puts so much pressure on the defense to be aware of where he's at all times because of his scoring ability. His playmaking ability, too, I think gets often overlooked. But when you can't shoot free throws and it's in the back of your mind as an opponent, hey, we can foul if we get put in a bad spot, it can kind of neutralize your advantage.
Good chunk of the year, Drew Timmy's been below 60%. Much better lately, made 1 of 2 that time. A little better attack that time, and another layup for Steven Jamerson.
Gonzaga's been it's been interesting how extended the bottom of this press has been. A couple times both bigs have been caught up near half court.
He loves those little floater shots.
He loves the floater. He loves the celebratory actions as well.
Yeah, he's got a signal for the floater that's kind of all Drew Timme. McKinney hung in the air, couldn't finish.
He's got the mustache. He's got the floater. He's a creative guy all around. Kennel behind us wanted to see him shoot that.
Big time. He's already taken 1 tonight. That might be his quota. Hickman 3 off to the side, no good. Timme got his hand on another ball, and he got pushed.
Gonzaga's been active in the zone press. You get turnovers, create some offense. Bolton over the top to Watson, the hometown product, finishing with authority.
You keep helping her with homework.
But we're only just now.
We'll help you save for her college.
A ballet studio, an architecture firm, and homemade barbecue sauce. They're called small businesses, but to the people who build them, there's nothing small about them. That's why at T-Mobile for Business, you'll save more than $1,000 versus Verizon. And with Price Lock Guarantee, we'll never raise your rate plan. So you can keep your focus on toe turns and making sure the sauce is extra spicy. At T-Mobile, there are no small businesses.
And scoring right now for UCLA.
Yeah, Bruins getting out a little bit out in transition, getting a look early in the clock, but they have controlled the tempo as they always do.
7-point lead. Elsewhere, Sean, St. Mary's pounding Pacific to dust.
So much so that their tune-up is already done. Their starters are pretty much already on the bench. Logan Johnson with 29. They're resting up and getting ready for their flight to Spokane.
30-point lead. David Dan.
All right, Kevin. 25-14, Zags with the lead over the Toreros. Gonzaga fell behind 6-0 in this one, and it was kind of looking like, hey, maybe the Zags are going to be looking ahead. A little lethargic in the first few minutes. Since then, Timmy's turned it up. Julian Strawther's playing so hard tonight. Not that they don't play hard all the time, but the Zags been flying around.
Well, the adjustment of staying in that three-quarter court press has been the difference. Julian Strawther's got his hands on a number of passes, and then Drew Timmy's activity on the offensive glass. 5 offensive rebounds already, 10 points, make that 11 now already on the night.
And continuing the theme, he's 3 of 4 at the free throw line. That's just a very positive sign going forward for the Zags, who lead the country in points per game. They lead the country in field goal percentage. Drew Timme is unquestionably one of the very best individual players in the sport. Erlington against Watson, no. Ball tipped back to Erlington though, and he puts it in.
That's one of the ones where you just stay active on the offensive glass. At some point, you're going to get an opportunity. Erlington, leading scorer on the season for the Toreros.
That pass goes out of bounds, and it was not tipped. Well, yeah, it was tipped. So Strawther let it go out of bounds. And that was the right call. Salas in. He's given Mark Few some really good minutes as the season's gone on at the point guard spot. Salas offensive rebound after the Bolton missed three. He finds Salas open. He'll take the three. That one's short. Timmy, offensive board. Timmy dunks it.
Well, one of the problems playing a zone like San Diego's done almost exclusively tonight is the ability to rebound. We've seen that now throughout. 6 offensive rebounds for Timmy. But Gonzaga's struggling against a poor defensive three-point defense. 2 of 12 now on the night.
Open three here. That one is off to the side. Offensive board for the Toreros. And another try. This one's good for Neil Benawal, the walk-on freshman from Pennsylvania.
He played really well against St. Mary's. Career high 11 points, 3 threes. That was an interesting game because St. Mary's controlled that game all the way till the end.
Watson just dunked it on a Torero's head.
Talk about control. The pass, the catch. That was controlled fury there by Anton Watson. Thankfully, we get another look at it. Pinpoint pass from Salas. Watson, the hammer over the top. He has played unbelievably well as of late. His last 11 games, 8 of them have been in double figures. What a lot of fans don't realize was he was a big-time scorer in high school. Went to Gonzaga Prep just up the road. Won a state title for Matty McIntyre, but battled injuries early in his career. And he's become known as the defensive specialist, but he's more than that.
And he has struggled. His struggles have sort of continued at the free throw line. He's done everything else well for Mark Few's team. I think, to me, it's a two-man race for Defensive Player of the Year in this league. Kyle Bona, St. Mary's, Anton Watson of Gonzaga.
I would agree with you. Those are two guys that can pretty much guard 1 through 5. The versatility that they have, and they're strong enough to guard on the interior as well. But both, I think, that separates them from good defenders is their smarts.
I mean, there are other good candidates, but those two, to me, really stand out. Here's a three. Townsend, it rattles home.
Smart player. Recognize that Salas went under the screen and roll. And when you do that, get your feet ready and let it fly.
Enough shots going down in these last couple minutes for San Diego to kind of hang around here. Strother right down the lane. Those are the ones that usually he's so smooth on. Up and under with the left hand, Devin Dalkey.
It's become a trend for guards is when you get your drive cut off, turn your drive action into a post-up. That was very similar there.
That was, I think, supposed to be a pass.
It looked it, yes.
And Watson thought it was a shot, and it just went right out of bounds. Good idea.
Well, those two have such a great connection. They came in at the same time, have become great friends. But when you talk about high-low looks, they return the favor to each other so unbelievably well.
They have to be two of the better passing big men in the country.
Yeah, I would agree.
And Zags have a great history of that as well. McKinney knocks Salas to the floor. That's an offensive foul, and I believe that's his 3rd foul. Stephen Jamerson already has 3 for the Toreros in the first half, and now McKinney.
A great replay from the truck to show Salas sliding his feet as the defender and taking the contact with his chest. And Steve Lavin calling for a flop.
I don't think that was a flop, though.
That was not a flop. That was great defense. That's where Salas, I think, has a chance to be special in his own right. He's got great length, instincts.
He's a very instinctive passer. Bolton catch and shoot 3. He's been a little off the mark from outside. Greg offensive rebound. He'll go to the free throw line. So channeling Drew Timme, the offensive boards for the Zags, a huge factor here in the first half. Still, with 3:45 to go, Gonzaga's lead is only 7, 31-24.
There are all kinds of products in this world. Things that make life easier or more fun. But New York Life's product is different. It's 12,000 experts whose responsibility is to be there, to guide you through the happiest and most difficult times. People who know the most valuable things in life aren't things at all. This is our product. This is what we do.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yup.
Every match?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Says it on the poster.
Get MLS Season Pass on us, plus unlimited 5G for $25 a line.
Connors, the spokesperson for the Davenport, Sean Farnham here in studio coming up at the half. Wait till you see what Logan Johnson is doing tonight for St. Mary's, plus the latest from Joe's bubble. Slow start for the Zags. Sean, what's changed?
Well, I think their energy level has, and it's increased, and Dan Dickhouse talked about it, extending out the pressure, getting that three-quarters press. What happens is it's not just about pressuring, it's about speeding up your opponent, but more so giving energy, because you have to scramble a little bit more at the defensive end of the floor. That's what has impressed me most. And Dave Fleming, I know you're missing me, but somehow, some way, you have to understand Kevin Connors came first tonight, and it was important that I was here for him.
Okay, I forgive you. I mean, I get to look. Sean and I do all these WCC games together. We're here in the kennel so often together. But I'm sitting next to a Gonzaga legend tonight. Dan Dickhouse is here, 31-24. I believe Sean is going to come and be in the building on Saturday here at the kennel. And look what's up in the rafters here now. That's as of like a couple weeks ago. Sean and I were here. We watched your ceremony.
That was a special night for myself and my family. It brought back a lot of great memories, that's for sure.
And look, you weren't the very first in this incredible era of Zags basketball, but you were among the first team All-American in Gonzaga hoops history. And your old head coach, Mark Few, during the ceremony said, long overdue, and we're glad we finally did it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Blocking foul called against Hunter Salas. A lot of three-pointers made, a lot of assists. Fifth jersey. They don't call it retired. Your jersey is displayed here.
Well, part of it is, outside of probably John Stockton's number, if somebody wants it, they're going to let you have it. But, when I transferred from University of Washington, where I was the number 12, I knew there was no way I was getting 12. So I flipped the number to be 21, and it worked out pretty well for me.
Yes, it did. San Diego shot clock winding down. Townsend just gets the shot off. No good. Rebound Ben Gregg. Nolan Hickman back in the game for the Zags. Gregg will attack off the dribble, and a chance for a three-point play, Ben Gregg.
That's the most aggressive that I have seen him in that mid-post area. A lot of times he catches and he's a tad bit hesitant. He's got the ability to shoot it from beyond the three-point line, but that was a quick catch, turn, face, attack the basket.
Missed the free throw, tapped back by Watson, though. Gregg attacks again.
San Diego's got to figure out how to keep Gonzaga off the glass. This has been 10 offensive rebounds now. You just can't give a good offensive team like Gonzaga that many extra possessions.
Zags actually haven't shot the ball all that well in this first half, particularly from the outside. But they're just killing the Toreros with those offensive rebounds. Shot clock winding down again, and a turnover. Here comes Watson. Watson flips it up and in.
Looked as if there could have been a foul there. That being said, good finish from Watson.
Townsend scores.
I'll tell you what, he's a good player. Townsend, senior from Dallas. He wants to play much better than he did against St. Mary's, where he was 2 of 15.
Yeah, strange considering he's had so many big games, good shooting games. Under 2 minutes to go first half. Another bucket for Anton Watson. Burlington fell down. Saved it to his teammate Townsend. Long range three is good. Good play by Benewald to save that ball in bounds, keep the possession alive.
Keep an eye on Malachi Smith. He's got the ball now for Gonzaga. Looked as if he bumped knees with Erlington on that last possession.
And Ben Gregg, he has got some offensive skills. That three, that looks pretty from a big man.
That's his strength as a big at this time. His ability to stretch the floor. The thing I like about him is he plays hard. He wants to be a really good player. He graduated high school early to be a part of that Final Four team that lost to Baylor in the title game. His best basketball is ahead of him.
He's played so hard in this first half. I think he's a little out of gas right now. Smith, one-on-one, and that one spins down now. Maybe bumped knees, and now might have turned an ankle there. Or maybe it's the knee again. He's hurting a little bit.
I was watching the upper body with the trajectory of the floater, so we'll get another look at it here. Little 2-foot floater over the top, and then, oh, that right foot landed on the foot of Erlington. Hopefully it's nothing too serious if you're a Zag fan.
Almost looked like the Hickman ankle injury at the end of the St. Mary's game, where the foot just kind of twisted and turned, and Nolan Hickman, as bad as it looked in the moment, didn't miss a game. So Smith will kind of limp off the floor. Yeah, he's an important player for the Zags.
He really is. You know, when you look at his credentials coming to Gonzaga a season ago at Chattanooga, averaged nearly 20 points a game, Conference Player of the Year. You know, many times if you have those credentials, you think you're going to be the guy. He has understood his role. He's played his role extremely well. There's been a number of times this year where he's been a scoring spark. There's been a number of times this year where he's just been a facilitator to others.
So 38.7 on the clock. Gonzaga's lead is now 46-29.
Well, we had talked about it a minute ago, Dave, the fact that Gonzaga was struggling from the field, yet you look up and there's 46 points in the first half.
Yeah, and they're shooting over 50% as a team. It can change quick.
Nice pass.
Backdoor play and the layup good for Benewald.
Benewald with a great cut, but Jawara threading the needle.
Shot clock off. Chance for Gonzaga to work on the last shot scenario. Nolan Hickman's got the ball. Gregg, nice pass down low. Watson, reverse, no. Tip in good from Gregg. And a fitting way for the first half to come to an end with another offensive rebound.
You're exactly right. Offensive rebounds have been literally the thorn in the side of San Diego. Ben Gregg, the beneficiary of another missed layup.
So 12 offensive boards, 11 points for Ben Gregg, and a 17-point lead for the Zags. Kevin and Sean in studio for our halftime report.
All right, Flem, an impressive
college basketball, part of the Road to Champ Week presented by Wendy's. We get ready to start the second half. Gonzaga with a 48-31 lead over San Diego. Dave Fleming, Dan Dickow back with you. It was 6-0 Toreros. After that, the offensive rebounding took over for the Zags.
Yeah, the offensive rebounding absolutely took over. But the one thing, if you're a Gonzaga fan, you got to be a little concerned about, they didn't shoot the ball very well at all. They struggled from beyond the arc, 3 of 14. But when you were as active as they were on the offensive glass, it really doesn't matter because everybody got in on the action on the offensive glass. Drew Timme a number of times, including this spectacular two-hand finish over the top.
When we talked about coming in, USD's given up the best, worst from a defensive perspective, but the highest percentage of makes from three of any team in the country. Zags did not take advantage of that, but you see all those second chance points. 16-5 Gonzaga outscoring San Diego in that regard.
Well, they had many open looks. As mentioned, they just didn't knock them down. Sometimes the open ones are the harder ones to make.
Timmy, who didn't play those last few minutes of the first half, had 14 in his minutes. Ben Gregg played 7 minutes, had 11 points in the first half. Gonzaga's got the ball to start the second half. Trying to make sure they take care of business here tonight and set the stage for one of the biggest games in this conference in a long while on Saturday right here on this floor. St. Mary's coming to the Kennel.
The Kennel has been great tonight. They've been ready to go. I can only imagine the energy and excitement that they're going to provide on Saturday.
They're going to have to pace themselves. By the way, that foul in the first, literally the first 10 seconds of the half on Steven Jamerson was his fourth. Yikes.
Gonzaga does such a good job pinning fouls on their opponent.
Backdoor, beautiful look, Hickman to Bolton.
Hickman didn't really score in the first half, only 3 points, but 4 assists now to 0 turnovers.
I heard it right, didn't I? That the doors will open here inside on Saturday morning for game day at 6 a.m. for the students.
Yes.
And then the game's at 7 p.m. local time on Saturday. Strother, another steal.
He was so active.
Bolton passed up the 3 to go baseline. Timmy, and that one's good.
That's just unbelievable touch. The ball just sits up on the rim and drops. Yeah, 6 a.m. wake-up call as a college student. No, thank you. But you never know. Jack and Dan's across the street. They may just stay open all night long.
That'd be a good business plan, I think, for them.
JC, I gave you the idea.
Erlington hits the 3 for the Toreros. Otherwise, it's been a quick start for Gonzaga here in the second half. Strother down the lane. Basically, nobody stopped him. He missed the shot. Watson, offensive board. I'm sure San Diego talked about it at halftime. Bolton, wide open, missed the 3.
But again, that's an example of a wide open shot. You've got all the time in the world. And it almost puts more pressure on you.
Wow. McKinney, good move, and then got fouled from behind by Watson. First foul against Gonzaga. Right through Lynch's hands and out of bounds.
That's a case of poor spacing. Erlington trying to post feed from about 4 feet away at a bad angle.
Otherwise, it was perfect execution. And a few too many of those for the Toreros in this game. Strother all the way down the lane. Took some contact. Timmy. Another second chance bucket for Gonzaga. Oh, so whatever they did talk about at halftime, Zags are still hitting the offensive glass.
Timmy's knocking on the door of another double-double, which would be his 8th of the season, but he might get it as far as offensive rebounds to go with points the way he's going right now.
No kidding. He could get to double figures just on the offensive end alone. McKinney didn't finish. Watson grabbed the loose ball. Strother was calling for it. He was wide open. Watson, nice pass to Timmy.
Another example of Watson being more than just a defender. You mentioned it in the first half. You know, he can push the ball up to break. Gonzaga with this lineup, any 5 guys that gets the ball off the defensive glass, they can push it up and create transition.
Erlington, tough shot, short, and it will be Drew Timmy to lead the break. Great bounce pass to Bolton for the layup. Wow.
What a luxury. The previous possession, your 4-man pushed it and created. That time, your 5. Maybe the best post player in the country pushes it and makes a spectacular pass.
That was pretty impressive.
Impressive it was, but we'll get another look at Anton Watson finding Drew Timme. And Drew Timme says, hey, I can do that myself. Threads the needle to a running, cutting Rajir Bolton.
People would sail to.
You keep helping her with homework.
But we're only just now.
We'll help you save for her college.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yup.
Every match?
I bet yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Says it on the poster.
Get MLS Season Pass on us, plus unlimited 5G for $25 a line.
All right, we got so much college hoops for you on Saturday. We can't even list all the games we have. We're starting in the evening. Virginia, Carolina in Chapel Hill, 6 Eastern, huge game for the Tar Heels. Virginia Tech Duke at 8 Eastern. Saturday primetime presented by John Deere right here at the Kennel. And those guys will be here for the first time in a long time. St. Mary's and Gonzaga. What a game. 10 Eastern. Saturday on ESPN. It'll stream live on the app. Not officially senior day for Drew Timme, but sort of.
Well, the pace he's going, he's going to become Gonzaga's all-time leading scorer in that last home game of the season against Chicago State.
Townsend 3, good. Chase Townsend's been the one guy, Erlington early and Townsend here as the game's gone on, who's tried to keep the Toreros close. Has not been enough to really do that.
5 of 9 from beyond the arc are the Toreros. You flip that around for Gonzaga, 3 of 15. San Diego's doing everything they can to fight back into it, but little resistance on the defensive end of the floor when Nolan Hickman's able to get into the paint that easily.
Timme knocked the ball away. Thought he'd had a clean deflection. Instead, he gets called for the reach-in.
Yes, Drew, that is a foul.
After all these years of college basketball, you're still going to call that one on me? I can't believe it. Drew Timme and Gonzaga taking over this game 60-37. They lead the Toreros up. San Diego 15-17 to play. If the season ended right now, it doesn't, by the way, but if it did, entering tonight, this is what the initial rounds of the West Coast Conference Tournament, which starts in a week, would look like. Portland, San Diego, BYU would have to play on Thursday. Now they still get to play San Francisco, so maybe they could scratch and claw and fight their way out of a Thursday game. At best, though, they're going to still have to play on Friday. Then the quarterfinals on Saturday. The top 2 teams already locked in, St. Mary's and Gonzaga, and they get the bye all the way to the semifinals. That's been the way the tournament has been set up for the last many years.
It's been set up that way to protect from having to play teams with a much higher net to really impact them in potential seeding for the NCAA tournament.
And I think it's been a system that has served this conference well. Bolton tried to thread one in there to Timme, and that's a turnover. Because the tournament down in Vegas has often provided great drama, great theater, but usually involves the best teams during the regular season. I think that's what a conference wants. You want some intrigue, you want some close games, some excitement, but you also want your best teams to be rewarded and have a chance to win a title.
Well, we mentioned, Gonzaga 10 straight league titles. Coach Few's always looked at it as being so indicative of your season in a whole. They take a lot of pride in the fact that they've consistently played well throughout the course of the season, and it leads to a conference title.
Nice play by Salas. He ripped the ball away and went off the leg of Jawara and out of bounds. Well, we should have some time tonight. This was a good play defensively by Salas.
Tremendous with his length, able to slap it off the Torero's knee, but he's a unique player. They've started to play him a little bit at the point guard in stretches in the second half of the year as Bolton gets the layup to go and a chance to the three-point play. But, Salas, I think when he's at the point, Gonzaga has a little bit more of a burst offensively. They get down the floor a little bit quicker.
Outside shots haven't been falling for Bolton tonight, 0 for 5 from 3, but he still played a nice all-around game. He's got 6 assists, Rasir Bolton.
He's been a perfect transfer. Came in from Iowa State after starting at Penn State. He's been tremendous on the court, but he's been even better in the community. I've helped him run a basketball clinic at Shoot 360 a year ago, but he also donates a lot of his time to homeless causes in the area.
That's an important point. Great fit on the team, great fit in a community that cares so much about this team, and so many of you guys who played here stay around and make Spokane your home. That shot did hit the rim. It was going to be a shot clock violation. Timmy brings it up again. USD got back and got organized. Timmy, no, tipped it up and in.
Just another offensive rebound putback for Drew Timmy.
Wow.
8 offensive rebounds now. Getting to the point where we might have to talk about what's an individual Gonzaga player's offensive rebound record for a single game.
Yeah, because that's his career high now. Timmy's never had 8 in a game on the offensive end. He's got that tonight. Little step back, Dalkey way too strong. This is a lineup that you don't see very often from the Toreros. Bolton's going to try it again. Man, he has been way off the mark from outside. Strange, he's a good shooter.
6 now in the evening. Gonzaga themselves as a whole, 3 of 18 from beyond the arc. It's not that they haven't gotten good looks. They have. They just haven't knocked them down.
Well, I didn't think I was going to be talking about Dominic Muncy in the game for the Toreros, at least not at this point, but he's in there. Number 32 for USD. I don't know if that's a message from Steve Lavin about some of the other things he's seeing or just trying something different.
Well, they've got foul trouble, and they've also got the injuries that we've talked about. There are 4 walk-ons on this team that played extended minutes against LMU in the win.
Malachi Smith hits the 3. And look, you just gave the number. That's only the 4th the Zags have made tonight against the worst 3-point percentage defense in all of college basketball coming in. See, that was a pretty good pass. Timmy rejects the shot, though, from Benewall. Salas in the open court. Steps through, finger roll.
That's where he's at his best, in the open court. He's changed the mechanics of his jump shot from freshman to sophomore year, and it's getting better. But in transition, he is really good.
That 3 is good for Devin Dalkey. Under 11 minutes to go. There might not be many minutes left in this game for Timmy, who had it stripped away. Went to Bolton, and Bolton will go to the free throw line. So that takes us to a timeout. 69-40, Gonzaga. Just 10+ minutes away from getting ready for St. Mary's, headed here on Saturday.
New York Life's product isn't something you can touch or click on. It's 12,000 experts there to guide you through life's biggest moments. This is our product. This is what we do.
Metro offers MLS Season Pass.
On us.
What about for existing customers?
Yup.
Every match?
I bet, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Says it on the poster.
Get MLS Season Pass on us, plus unlimited 5G for $25 a line.
College game day, we get to be back amongst the people. How great is this? College Game Day live from Gonzaga, a special 2-hour edition Saturday, 10 Eastern on ESPN.
So you got game day. The students will be so excited. Then you get the rematch of really an all-time classic. Gales Zags earlier this month in Moraga. And Aiden Mahaney down the stretch. Dan, I think you could make a real argument. It was the greatest individual stretch in any game all year in college hoops.
I couldn't disagree with you because he was that good. And, you know, when somebody struggles in the first half, kind of the way he did, it's easy to just say, hey, it's not my night. But the way he responded in that second half showed you a lot about the freshman who grew up literally 5 minutes from St. Mary's campus. He plays with a ton of poise and a ton of confidence, and he's unbelievably skilled for a freshman.
And he's had some typical ups and downs in conference play. I think particularly as the year's gone on, maybe sometimes you worry about a player of his stature wearing down a little bit. He had a quiet night tonight, although St. Mary's blew out Pacific. Bolton missed the second, so his free throw shooting even tonight has been a little erratic. 30-point lead for the Zags, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of talk about Aiden Mahaney on game day and then leading into the game broadcast later Saturday night here from the Kennel. Horrible pass, and somehow it got to Nick Lynch, who laid it in.
Yeah, I don't know how that got through, but Lynch is not going to complain. Easiest 2 points he's had tonight.
Ben Gregg back in, immediately shoots a three.
You just look over at Coach Few, shaking his head. Ben Gregg knows that's going to be on film session tomorrow, I'm sure.
I mean, he looks so, his three in the first half looked so pure and beautiful. And then that one. Yeah, you can make that face if you airball one. He had a heck of a first half. Lynch, who can shoot, the big man, he knocks down the three.
He's got to enjoy being back here in the state of Washington. He played high school over in Seattle, so I'm sure he's got family and friends here.
And then went all the way to Lehigh for the first 4 years of his college career. Long way from home. Transfers back to the WCC.
The home of C.J. McCollum.
That's it. Not much debate about the all-time greatest Lehigh.
Do you know who the greatest shooter in Lehigh history is?
Who?
A guy by the name of Matt Logie. He was a head coach at Division III Whitworth up the road. He's now at Point Loma. He's got them in the top 5 Division II. He is one of the next big-time hires at the Division I level for a young coach.
Okay, circle the name.
Absolutely.
You heard it here first, or close to first, from Dan Dickow. I'm still going with C.J. McCollum as their greatest player.
Player, yes. Shooter, Matt Logie.
Okay, Strother tried to save it in bounds. Couldn't do it. It'll stay San Diego ball. Julian Strother, only 7 points tonight, although a lot of hustle plays. He's made an impact in this game, but averaging 27 a game his last 3 before tonight. Townsend gets double teamed and a great pass. Lynch was wide open.
That was a great pass. The vision to find Lynch, spectacular.
Nolan Hickman went behind the back and then hit the little mid-range shot.
Hit those breaks, let the defense fly by, get yourself back on balance. Nice move from Nolan Hickman.
He's had a solid game. Here's a three from the corner. That one's no good.
You know, the thing that you've got to like if you're a Gonzaga fan is there's been different moments where these backcourt players for Gonzaga stepped up and made big plays. Greg gets the three there, but Bolton had the game winner against San Francisco. Hickman had a game winner essentially against Santa Clara. Hunter Salas hit a big three towards the end of the game against BYU.
Not a good look from Townsend to Lynch. No call as the Gonzaga defender hit the floor. Julian Strother draws a foul. Well, tomorrow we got a Friday doubleheader in the NBA coming off the All-Star break. First things first, Bucks Heat, two of the best in the East, 7:30 Eastern on ESPN. And then the Suns, who may well be the talk of the league down the stretch after their big trade. Kevin Durant will not play tomorrow, but the Suns and the Thunder, 10 Eastern. Those games stream live on the app. Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker.
That team's loaded.
DeAndre Ayton, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I think as a sports fan, you can always appreciate a team just going for it. We want to win, and we want to win right now.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
That's pushing all your chips in, that's for sure.
Townsend from Lynch. Got to get a shot off. Just a heave from Lynch. It did hit the rim. Rebound Gonzaga. Strother, nice move to find an opening and knock down the three.
As well as he's been shooting it over the last 8 games at 50% from the three-point line, he really hasn't forced the issue. Tonight, 2 of 3. Timmy's obviously been this big-time scoring threat, but Strother's just let the game come to him.
And I talked to Mark Few today about Strother. And look, Mark and I talk every week, but sometimes it's a struggle. Like, what is there new to say? Strother! Another one right in front of his head coach. And he made that exact point. You know, he has these big scoring games, but he's never jacking up shots for the sake of shooting. He never forces the issue. It comes within the framework of the team.
And that's hard to accept and play in that style. I mean, he was a big-time scorer in high school in Las Vegas, over 30 a game. Many times when that happens, as Muncy knocks down a 3 in the front of the San Diego bench, you come in with these expectations that you're going to score. As a freshman, he knew he had to learn behind guys like Corey Kispert. He accepted his role, and he's improved and he's worked at it. Now he's a legitimate NBA prospect. I really think he is a prospect now over the way he's played the last 2 months or so of the season.
He sure is looking like it. He's got a very diverse offensive game. You see the threes, and then you see moves like that one.
You know, one way you could nitpick his game is that, you know, he's, I believe, got a negative assist-to-turnover ratio on the season, but he's not asked to make plays for teammates. That's not his role within Gonzaga's attack.
A couple sequences ago, Hickman will shoot the 3. No good. Dominic Muncy made a shot for San Diego. And I believe that that's his first made bucket of the year. We're going to call a foul against Gonzaga going for the rebound. And that'll send us to a timeout. Zags have a pretty good shot at getting to that 100-point mark again here tonight. 87-54. That's their lead with 5+ to go.
True story. As this season nears the end, there's urgency.
You never know what can happen.
To secure a conference title or make a resounding statement. Experience number 6 Virginia, North Carolina. Saturday at 6 on ESPN.
Clark's just one of those players. She has had a masterful game.
Clark connects. Push the foul.
Well, really should be an incredible atmosphere game. You know how those Iowa fans turn out. Caitlin Clark and Mackenzie Holmes, two of the very best players and scorers in all of college basketball. Indiana's the second-ranked team in the country, top 10 team in Iowa on Sunday.
Second, Caitlin Clark passes half court. It seems as if she's in range.
Yeah, if you haven't seen her play, Sunday would be a good day to circle and make that happen, because she is something else. 5:20 to go here in Spokane. Torero's trying to get the ball in bounds. They just do. Dominic Harris comes in for Gonzaga.
Harris, an interesting player. Came in the same recruiting class as Jalen Suggs, Julian Strother. He's battled injuries, but he's a talented player.
Believe it or not, that's the first bucket of the game for Deuce Turner, and it's his first shot attempt. That seems like that shouldn't happen. As talented of a scorer as Deuce Turner is, how does he wait until 5 minutes to go in the game to take a shot?
And aggressive as he normally is to score.
Smith, maybe too wide open. Gregg's follow didn't go. He took a shot to the head, I thought. Here's a three left side. That one no good. Well, the guys in studio were talking about how St. Mary's had a chance to get their starters out very early tonight in a blowout win at home to get ready for Saturday. And Gonzaga is essentially getting a chance to do the same thing. Look back after a nice save by Smith. And it's good to see Smith back in the game. Remember, he turned his ankle a little bit.
Active on the glass there. Comes up with a nice save to Ben Gregg, who's knocking on the door of a career high now with 16.
Yeah, he's also hurting a little bit. He took a shot, I don't know if to the head or the nose, something like that, but he's hanging in there. Another timeout here in Spokane, 89-57 Zags. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball brought to you by Wendy's. 2 for $6, the best deal in fast food. 89-57. You can only imagine what it's going to look like. It looks like this tonight in a blowout game against a big-time underdog. Only imagine what it's going to look and feel like here inside on Saturday, part of our huge day of college hoops. Virginia, Carolina, 6 Eastern. Virginia Tech, Duke, 8 Eastern, 10 Eastern. Definitely worth staying up for. The first matchup sure was St. Mary's here in Spokane to take on the Zags.
That's the advantage to living on the West Coast. You get to watch it all day long. You don't have to stay up past midnight. I recommend people that haven't seen Gonzaga or St. Mary's play to stay up. Obviously, Gonzaga's more known nationally, but St. Mary's is a really good basketball team.
They know each other so well. There's so much familiarity. It will be a big-time physical game. St. Mary's is a true physical team. Out of bounds off of Gonzaga.
St. Mary's one of the best defensive teams in the country. They are physical. They will fight you for every entry pass, post position, everything on the glass.
Actually, the way that game gets officiated will be a factor on Saturday. Just because of that, Turner misses the shot. Harris grabs a defensive rebound.
I think that'll be a factor, but also which team adjusts to the officiating first will be a factor.
Out of bounds. And that one will be Gonzaga basketball. Foul trouble was an issue, and it was really an issue for St. Mary's in that first matchup. Randy Bennett, one thing about Randy, Hunter Sallis, that was a cool move. There may not be a coach in the country more willing to play his players in foul trouble for big minutes than Randy Bennett.
Well, he trusts them to stay within the framework of what they do and he trusts them to adjust to how the game is officiated. I mean, they're typically a 7, sometimes 8-man rotation.
You know, I asked him about it, and he said, look, you know, if you just automatically bench your guys as soon as they have 3 fouls early in the second half or 4 fouls midway through the second half, whatever it is, 2 fouls in the first half, then you're fouling out your players on your own. His idea is, I just want those minutes from my top players, so why guarantee that I'm not going to get them? Takes a little trust, takes a little faith.
Nice pass.
Great pass from Hunter Sallis. He does have a knack for that.
Well, just the burst that he had when he saw a seam, he went.
And Brooks was the beneficiary. That three no good. Salas grabs the rebound. Kobe Brooks again.
Hey, they must have a connection in practice that's relaying to games now. That was a great pass, but an even better cut, to be honest, from Kobe Brooks.
Turner needed to shoot more in this game.
I agree. I mean, he is the one guy that, well, I can't say the one guy because Erlington can create his own, as can Townsend, but, you know, he's another spark plug off the bench.
And Greg's had one of the best games he's ever had here tonight. He's got 18 points, 7 of 9, 7 rebounds. That one ricocheted off of Smith, but it was saved in bounds by Salas. Kobe Brooks is feeling it. Offensive rebound, Dom Harris, and they'll call it jump ball. We talked about this already, Dan, but if the tournament started, here's what it would look like. Is there a team that you're eyeing that, okay, among the teams who have to play either Thursday or Friday, has a chance to make a run?
Well, San Francisco, because they've got two guards that if they can get hot, they are scary, and that's Khalil Shabazz and Tyrell Roberts. They're undersized, which can hurt them at times on the defensive end of the floor, but I'm a guy who gravitates to the offensive end of the floor, and those two guys I would be happy to have on the team that I'm rooting for.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. I mean, BYU, it's crazy to sort of call BYU, like, could that be? But right now, they're the 7 seed out of this 10-team WCC.
And they've got a difficult challenge ahead of them in the when they move to the Big 12.
And they took Gonzaga all the way to the end, both matchups this year in the regular season. Abe Eagle gets some minutes here for the Zags, and he draws a foul, so he'll go to the free throw line. Have to have the full rosters as a play-by-play guy tonight.
That's my advantage, living in Spokane, coming to many practices.
Well, we talked about one of these two games, but it's a women's basketball doubleheader on Sunday afternoon. Notre Dame Louisville at noon Eastern, and then that Iowa and Indiana matchup. The Eagle missed both free throws. Plus College Game Day from Iowa City gets it all started on Sunday. That should be a really cool show. The three is going to count, but I'm not sure what happened with the inbound pass with a minute to go.
Well, it looks like the net is hung, so the officials probably blew the whistle dead to be able to fix it. This is about the time usually where Sean would dial up the Davenport and ask him to heat up his flatbread. Sorry, Sean, I had to.
Yeah, with no Farnham here, we had to get one mention in. We need a Dick Out menu item, I think.
Absolutely.
Downtown Spokane.
Davenport, one of my favorite hotels in the country.
Yeah, we'll work on that. They're going to count the basket. I think there was a foul, plus they're going to call a goaltend. Hunter Salas can fly.
Yeah, if we get a chance to look at that one again, his head was up at the backboard level. Chasing it down, gets his timing just right. Yeah, he had to duck.
Hit his arm on the rim.
I never had that problem.
Like his upper arm. Salas is going to attack, had his shot rejected. Final seconds of this game. 3 is good. So Dalkey and the Toreros throwing in a few shots here in the last few moments, but for everybody in this town, the attention now can turn to the Gales of St. Mary's. Chance to extend that 10-year streak of at least sharing a regular season title in the WCC.
Well, there's a lot of pride within that streak, and the fact is, if they're going to extend it, they have to earn it because they've been playing catch-up to St. Mary's ever since that first loss to LMU.
Ben Gregg heaved the shot, but it didn't count. So the final score is going to be 97-72. And for Gonzaga, you're right, an opportunity.